Material about monetary stewardship abounds in the Scriptures. And today's parable from Luke's Gospel certainly falls into this category. It is another one of those strange parables that doesn't exactly sound quite right for Jesus. Much of what he says comes unexpectedly. But couldn't we say that for most of the parables? We are told of a rich man who employs an accountant to manage his assets. The rich man gets wind of a rumor that his accountant is squandering the money. So, as we might expect for now, the rich man calls the accountant to accountability, asking for an accounting of the accounts. Then, naturally, the manager is informed that his services will no longer be required. So the steward reacts in the smartest way he can come up with, by granting every shopper's dream and giving out discounts. How much do you owe my boss? 100? Let's cut that in half. And you, how much do you owe? 1,000? Well, what do you say? Let's make it 800. This way, the accountant reasons, I will have some friends to turn to when I get thrown out on my ear. He's simply building up his resume, see. And here's where the twist comes in today. When the boss finds out about the accountant's little scheme, he commends him. He offers his congratulations. He pays his employee a compliment for this. Now, I'd like to see the accountant's face at that moment of utter surprise. But we don't get to. We don't get to find out if the guy gets fired or not, and we don't even learn if the plan works to earn the accountant some friends to ensure job security afterward. And so we have another typical end to so many of Jesus' parables. Open-ended, leaving us a little bewildered. Now, by definition, this passage is about stewardship. The accountant does exactly what a steward does, takes temporary care of someone else's stuff. In the end, all of us are mere stewards of everything we have. We may have earned it, but we can't take it with us. It was somebody else's before it came into our hands, and it probably belonged to someone else before that. Even things we create, the materials had to come from somewhere. Just as nothing goes with us into the next world, nothing is really ours to begin with either. Like this accountant, we are all stewards. As the psalmist reminds us, the earth is the Lord's and all that is in it, and the heavens are God's. The earth also is God's, the world and all that is in it. Now, to take this accountant as a model for good stewardship might raise some questions for you. Most clearly, this accountant is dishonest. His boss hears the report that his money is being wasted. Though do note that we never hear if that rumor is confirmed. And the accountant probably cheated his boss out of much wealth when he went on his price-slashing escapade. Now, is this what godly stewardship is supposed to look like? Lying and stealing? Not exactly, I don't think. But it's his shrewdness that is commended. He used his brain in figuring out how to best use the resources at hand. That is good stewardship. Remember, when Jesus sent out the disciples, he instructed them to be as innocent as doves, but also as wise as serpents. Adhering to absolute trust in God does not mean one must also be naive. But there's yet another reason why the story of the shrewd manager does indeed serve as a good example of faithful Christian stewardship. Why this parable is open-ended, I think, in that we don't find out what happens to the manager's job or his future career, is because that's not really the point. The main point is already right there in the story. The cynical view of his debt-reducing antics assumes a selfish desire to befriend others as a safety net. Now, while this appears to be part of his motive, in reality, the accountant makes an interesting, revealing assessment. Relationships are more valuable than material goods. That's his final calculation. Now, again, that is what I call good stewardship. We give of ourselves not for the upkeep of a building, or for a tax deduction, or even for some guarantee of heaven. That, after all, would be works righteousness. But to help build our relationships with others by loving our neighbors as we love ourselves. This is how we are called to be faithful stewards of all the resources at our disposal. In this way, the purpose of stewardship and the point of mission become one: to serve the God of love in everything and with everything. Hopefully, that's nothing to squirm around about. Thanks be to God. Amen. Let us rise.